This video is for educational purposes only. All individuals are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Viewer discretion is advised. Number 1. DeNardo McCormick. A South Bend man who was arrested last year for possessing enough fentanyl to kill hundreds of thousands of people has been sentenced to more than 17.5 years in federal prison. DeNardo McCormick pleaded guilty this past summer to possession with intent to distribute and possessing a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. Police found a massive amount of drugs and weapons in McCormick's basement during a raid at his home on the west side last year. Investigators discovered 500 grams of marijuana, 75 grams of cocaine, and 990 grams of fentanyl. Investigators said they also found 40,000 fake pharmaceutical pills filled with meth, as well as several rifles.
Number 2. Drug raid in Rochester, New York.
Rochester, New York. 47 people are now behind bars after a massive 2-year drug investigation shut down multiple trafficking rings moving heavy weight through the Finger Lakes region, New York Attorney General Letitia James announced. Authorities say the bus took down 3 major heroin, fentanyl, and cocaine operations that were flooding the streets of Monroe and Wayne counties, with the drug trail stretching into Ontario, Cayuga, Orleans, Seneca, and Yates counties. The case started in Wayne County, where investigators zeroed in on brothers Michael Danzy and Terrence Rags, identifying them as key cocaine suppliers. From there, the trail led straight into Rochester, specifically a small strip of Avenue D, where resellers were pushing product day in and day out. According to James, many of those Avenue D dealers were getting their supply from one main source, Luis Rivera and his 3 sons, who allegedly ran the pipeline and kept the cocaine flowing through the city. By the time the operation wrapped up, law enforcement had seized 10 kilograms of fentanyl, another 10 kilograms of cocaine, and a quarter pound of heroin, drugs worth more than $9 million on the street. Authorities also recovered 19 illegal guns and over $440,000 in cash. Number 3. Mobile, Alabama. Mobile, Alabama. January 26, 2026. 3 people just got convicted in a federal case that exposed a multi-million-dollar drug operation moving heavy weight through Mobile. And the streets heard every bar of it. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, a jury found Glennie Antonio McGee, 42, his wife, Echanza Dianca Maxey, 43, and Xavieria Diagnes Maxey, 37, guilty for their roles in a cocaine and fentanyl trafficking crew that ran from 2017 to 2024. Prosecutors say McGee's ring was no small hustle. They were pushing bulk cocaine and tens of thousands of fake M30 fentanyl pills made to look like oxycodone, sourcing the coke from cartel-connected suppliers in Texas and Mexico, and pills from spots across the Southeast. The operation even used kids as couriers. In one chilling recorded incident, McGee allegedly told kids, including an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, to toss bulk cocaine over a fence during a stash house raid. McGee was convicted on counts tied to running a continuous criminal enterprise, trafficking coke and fentanyl, using minors in the business, and possession of a firearm in furtherance of drug crimes. He's facing 25 years to life in prison when he's sentenced. Department of Justice. Echanza was found guilty of conspiracy charges related to cocaine and guns and tampering with evidence, facing a minimum 10-year stretch up to life, while Xavieria was convicted on firearms and evidence charges with up to 20 years possible. This case was the result of a long-running multi-agency effort involving the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, DEA, ATF, local police and sheriff's offices.
Number 4. Sylvan Brush.
What started as a routine traffic stop in southwest Atlanta ended with drugs, a gun, and a convicted felon behind bars. On the evening of January 22nd, Atlanta police pulled over a Nissan Altima on Lee Street Southwest after spotting a vehicle violation. When officers learned the driver, later identified as 27-year-old Sylvan Brush, was driving on a suspended license, things quickly escalated. Brush allegedly ignored police commands and tried to flee the scene, but officers detained him without further incident. A search of the car uncovered more than 4 pounds of marijuana and a firearm, a serious find during what would have been an ordinary stop. Brush now faces multiple charges, including possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, marijuana possession, and obstruction of law enforcement. He was booked into Fulton County Jail. Police say traffic stops like this are key to getting illegal guns and drugs off the streets and keeping communities safer.
Number 5. Louisville, Kentucky.
Federal agents took down a major drug trafficking network that stretched from Detroit to Louisville, resulting in multiple arrests and a huge seizure of drugs, guns, and cash. Over the weekend, federal agents, working with local and state law enforcement, executed 15 coordinated raids, 10 in Louisville and 5 in Detroit, targeting suspects linked to a multi-city narcotics ring. 9 people were taken into custody and are now facing federal conspiracy charges, including trafficking cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. One of the leaders, Reginald Forsyth, is also charged with money laundering and now faces a mandatory minimum of 10 years in prison. Officials say this wasn't a small-time operation. Investigators seized more than 70 pounds of meth, at least 1 kilogram of fentanyl, enough to end hundreds of lives, over $350,000 in cash, and at least 12 firearms, including several believed to be stolen. Authorities say some of the seized guns were connected to violent crimes in the Louisville area. Federal prosecutors say this bust is part of a years-long investigation sparked by a series of shootings and violent crime patterns in neighborhoods like Russell, Shawnee Park, and Chivoli. They believe removing these drugs and weapons from the streets will help improve safety and reduce violence. All 9 defendants have made their first court appearances and are presumed innocent as their cases move forward. Federal law enforcement says work continues to crack down on cross-state trafficking and protect communities from deadly narcotics and violence.
Number 6. Jason DeMyers.
A major drug trafficking operation stretching across multiple states has officially been shut down, and the man prosecutors called the Kingpin is heading to prison for nearly 3 decades. Federal officials say Jason DeMyers, a 44-year-old from Phoenix, Arizona, with strong ties to Lansing, Michigan, was sentenced to 27 years in federal prison. Investigators say DeMyers ran a large-scale drug network responsible for flooding Michigan cities with meth and cocaine. According to court records, DeMyers coordinated drug shipments into Lansing, Detroit, and Kalamazoo, using couriers to move both narcotics and cash across state lines. Authorities say the operation ran for years and was part of a federal task force case known as Operation Cold, as ICE. By the time it was over, investigators had seized around 10 kilograms of methamphetamine, 8 kilograms of cocaine, multiple properties tied to the ring, and more than $300,000 worth of jewelry connected to drug proceeds. Demeyers wasn't alone. Prosecutors charged 14 people in total, most from Lansing and Kalamazoo, with others from Southfield, Bloomfield, and Southern California. Several co-defendants received long federal sentences, ranging from 3 years to 27 years behind bars. Federal officials say the sentencing sends a clear message. Large-scale drug operations crossing state lines will be dismantled, no matter how organized they are. If you want to stay informed, stay aware, and stay ahead of the headlines, make sure you subscribe, hit like, and turn on notifications. Because somewhere in America, the feds are already planning the next sweep. We'll see you in the next one. This is The Feds Did a Sweep TV.